Holybird Education and Publishing presents Stories of the Boo-Boos, written by Mabel Lucie Attwell, read by Tanya Cunningham. Copyright by Holybird Education and Publishing. Book 1, Bunty and the Boo-Boos. It was the green umbrella's doing, really, for if he had not suddenly turned inside out and flown away over the seas, carrying Bunty, Mops, and Queen Elizabeth with him, they would never have found the Boo-Boos. That's quite certain. The brown rabbit helped a little, for if it hadn't called "Stop!" just when it did, they might have flown on and on. And there is no knowing what might have happened. This I do know. They were all mightily relieved when, bump, bumpity bump, they were on firm land once more. Specially Mops. He is the dog. They all picked themselves up, and Bunty saw a quaint little creature hurrying along. "Oh, please," cried Bunty politely. "Are we going right? We have lost our way, you know?" "Yes," replied the mouse, for such she was. "Straight on. I've given notice." Bunty was very interested. "Notice," she said. "Then you must be a cook." "Yes, I'm a cook." The quaint creature shook its whiskers angrily. "But they get no more cooking from me. They said everything I made tasted of cheese, just cheese. So of course I gave notice at once." "What an unpleasant person," thought Bunty, as the mouse hurried away. "Not a bit like our cookie. But I wonder just who she gave notice to, and where we are, and who lives in these jolly little houses." As they were all tired, they climbed on to a comfy tree to rest. But hardly were they seated when a squeaky voice asked for their tickets. "What tickets?" cried Bunty, who certainly hadn't any, not even halves. "Tickets for the Boo-Boo concert tonight," went on the voice. "And if you haven't any, you must all come along a me to the king." Bunty spied around, and there, just beneath them, was a little fellow anyone could see was a policeman. Dear me! They simply had to go, although Mops did make rather a fuss. Bad dog. The king, directly he saw Bunty, loved her dearly, and tried to think how he could have her always for keeps. "I know! You are the new cook," he cried suddenly. "Am I? How perfectly lovely," said Bunty. "Can you cook?" he asked a little anxiously. Bunty shook her head. "Only mud pies," she said humbly. Dispatch a messenger to the wise bird, ordered the king. She will lend us the blue book of cooking. Bunty shall learn to make porridge. Hurrah! Shouted all the boo-boos. Hurrah for Bunty, the boo-boos' cook. There was great excitement. So a boo-boo messenger, quick lad, flew off at once to the wise bird's house. The wise bird was just about to bath her grandchildren, but she most kindly hurried to find the book. "To make porridge, eh?" said she, on hearing the boo-boo's tale. "Yes, yes, easy enough," she continued, wisely wagging her beak. "Stir 16½ times and boil till the moon rises. Not a minute more, mind you, or the porridge will be spoilt." The boo-boo gratefully thanked her and flew quickly homewards, anxious to be in good time to allow Bunty to do her cooking before going to the concert. The king and Bunty were great friends, he graciously helping his little cook with her task. 14, 15, 16 stirs, he counted. "Dear me," thought Bunty, "this is enormous responsibility. And how can one stir 1/2 times?" It was soon made and put on to boil, and the king, cook, and all the boo-boos went to the concert. When they came to the concert place, Bunty was rather perplexed as to what to sit on. You see, Nursie had always said, "Never, never sit on the grass, or the damp will get your bones." And there was nothing else to sit on. The boos had nice, comfy mushroom seats, but Bunty was too big for them, and broke every one she tried to sit on. Hard luck. So once again the king dispatched his men, this time for a seat for Bunty. And wasn't it hard work to drag it along? But it was done. The concert was an enormous success, and everybody enjoyed themselves greatly, till Bunty suddenly caught sight of the moon. It had more than risen. Indeed, it was halfway up the tree. "Oh dear, my poor porridge!" cried Bunty, as she remembered the wise bird's words, 16½ times, and boil till the moon rises. She hurried away, but too late. The porridge was quite spoiled. "It is burnt," she sobbed, "and I can't cook, that's certain." The concert came quickly to a close, and the king hurried to Bunty. "Don't cry, dear," he begged. "We are not hungry, are we, Boos? At least, not very." One and all the boo-boos agreed with him, and all begged the sad little cook not to cry one tear more. "Come," said the king. "You are tired, dear. Come, and I will find you a little house for you to sleep in." So Bunty dried her eyes and followed him. But more trouble. Not one house was anything like large enough for Bunty, to say nothing of Mops and Queen Elizabeth. You see, Bunty was not like the Boo-Boos, who can get smaller and smaller just as they like, and so can fit any house. No, Bunty was, well, plump, and her bones would not shut up like a Japanese puzzle. And there it all was. The poor king's heart was nearly broken by this time, for he knew he must send Bunty back to her mother. There was no one to cook, and no house to fit, and little girls must eat and sleep in houses. That was certain. So in the morning he must let her go. But for that night he guarded her tenderly and kept her from all harm. When morning came, Bunty awoke with a glorious plan. "Why not all come back to Mother?" she said. "My mother is the beautifulest in all the world, and loves lots of children in her house, and—" here Bunty blushed. "She can make lovely porridge." So it came to pass, and the green umbrella carried them safely home to Bunty's mother, and she was surprised. And if in her heart of hearts she thought there would be a number of little faces to wash, and stockings to mend, and mouths to fill, she said not a word, but opening wide her arms, took them all in, and loved them to their heart's content. God bless her.